All right. Okay, limits. Basically, limit extends to a f of x equal to k. Okay. If you want to say this, f of x need not be defined at x equal to a, not necessary, but it should be defined in the neighborhood. Okay. Either before a at some values f of x should be defined, or after a at some values for f of x should be defined, or it can be defined on both also, and only one side is also okay. Basically, when x is reaching a, okay, x is equal to b and c and d and some set of numbers which are reaching a, x is passing through all of them and approaching a, this f of x values are also coming close to one number. Okay, that number is called this. The function need not be defined there. Okay, many questions in limits, especially they will be in 0 by 0 form. Okay, just because something is normally 0 by 0 is not defined, but here we are not talking about 0 by 0, we are talking about numerator tending to 0 and denominator tending to 0. So the ratio also will be tending to not 0, some number. Okay, what is that number to identify? And we have set of formulas which are mainly derived by Sandwich theorem, some of them. Okay, I don't want to go into details of the derivation now, it's not important, but for telling Sandwich theorem, because some questions have to be done by Sandwich theorem, let me state it. Okay, let us say I have two functions. This is some g of x and this is some h of x. And I very well know g of x is always greater than h of x. Okay. And there is one more function f of x which is between them. H of x less than f of x less than g of x. This function is always greater than this, and this function is between them. But at a particular point, if these two are reaching the same number, g and h are reaching the same number, and this also has to lie between them, this also has to pass to that. At x equal to a, if this limit is k, this limit is k, this limit has to be k. All right. For example, I think in the beginning we proved this sin x by x is between cos x and 1. Okay. But when x is tending to 0, this is becoming 1, this is becoming 1. So this limit is also 1. Okay. So that is one way to derive this. But apart from that, there are quite a few questions which can be done by Sandwich theorem where we cannot find the limit of this, even knowing many formulas in limits. We cannot do some questions. But we can find a function greater than that. We can find a function less than that. But both should have same limit. Then this also will have that. Okay. Let's say this is having limit 2 and this is having limit 1. Then we cannot conclude anything. We can say this limit will be between 1 and 2. Or this limit may not exist. If something keep on oscillating, there will not be any limit. For example, limit extends to infinity sin x. When x is becoming 1 crore and 10,000 crore and things like that, sin x values are keep on oscillating between -1 to 1. They are not coming close to any specific number as such. Okay. So we say limit doesn't exist. So if these two are having different limits, so it is in some questions it is our intelligence to decide two functions. One is greater than that, one is less than that, but they have same limit. Okay. Then we can conclude about this limit. Okay. So let us see some standard formulas that are there in this chapter. When some questions are in 0 by 0 form, we can rationalize it, okay, and cancel out whatever is possible, and then the left of the expression we can find the limit. Apart from that, we have this formula: limit extends to a x power n minus a power n by x minus a is n into a power n minus 1. And directly when you put x equal to a, this becomes 0 by 0 form. But if you use expansion of this and cancel out this, you'll get this. There is one more formula based on this. Limit extends to a x power m minus a power m by x power n minus a power n is m by n a power m minus n. This is derived from this only. How? You can write x power m minus a power m by x minus a, x power n minus a power n by x minus a. This is m into a power m minus 1, and this is n into a power n minus 1. When you simplify it, you will get m by n a power m minus n. Okay. So even if you forget this one, you can do like this also. Okay, next limit extends to 0 sin x by x, that limit is 1. And the limit extends to 0 tan x by x is equal to 1. and the limit extends to 0, 1 minus cos x by x square is 1 by 2. Even though it is not in the list of formulas, because we use it quite a few times, you can make it as formula. But this is derived from the sign limit only. 1 minus cos x can be written as 2 sine square x by 2. This x square, you can write x by 2 whole square into 4. This limit is 1. And 2 by 4 limit will be 1 by 2. Okay. So that's how this is derived. Of course, you can take reverse also. Here reverse, you can take sin inverse by x. That is also limit is 1. Tan inverse x by x, that limit is also 1. Okay, I don't have to mention specifically. Apart from that, limit extends to 0, e power x minus 1 by x, limit is 1. And limit extends to 0, a power x minus 1 by x, limit is log a base c. Actually, from here, this can be derived, or you can say this formula includes that, because when you substitute a as e, log a base c is 1. Limit extends to 0, log of 1 plus x by x is 1. This is same as limit extends to 0, 1 plus x whole power 1 by x is equal to e. If you apply log on both sides, this will come. If you apply log on both sides, log e is 1. You can apply log, power will come out. You will get 1 by x into log 1 plus x, which is this. Okay. So there will be some questions based on this and based on this. Of course, same thing you can also write another way. You take x as 1 by t, you will get limit extends to infinity 1 plus 1 by x whole power x. Both are same. I took x as 1 by x here. Okay. Then when x is tending to 0, 1 by x will be tending to infinity, and you will get that limit is also same e1. Okay. There is one more formula we use quite often. Is, let us say limit extends to a, if limit extends to a f of x is equal to 1 and the limit extends to a g of x is equal to infinity, then limit extends to a f of x power g of x. Basically, base is becoming 1 and power is becoming infinity. Don't say 1 power infinity is 1. Yes, normally 1 power 1000 is 1, 1 power 4 is 1. But this is not 1. This is becoming 1. This is becoming infinity. Then answer will not be 1. Okay. It will be something else. Okay. This actually formula is e power limit extends to a f of x minus 1 into g of x. Okay. Base minus 1 into g of x. How this is actually derived is that this one can be written as limit extends to a 1 plus f of x minus 1. Here I added one, subtracted 1. In this power, I will divide with f of x minus 1 and multiply with f of x minus 1 and into g of x. If you call this as t, this as t, 1 plus t whole power 1 by t. But t is tending to 0 because this is becoming 1, this will be tending to 0. 1 plus x whole power 1 by x, just now we have seen e, na? Okay, so this is e, we'll be left with this, that is exactly this formula. This whole thing limit is e, and this limit you have to find it. That's how this formula is derived. Okay. But whenever anything in the form of 1 power infinity, simply e power base minus 1 into power that limit. That's it. You can just remember like. Okay. So these are mostly the formulas for limits. But a few things, there are some questions on one-sided limits. When x is approaching from 5 from one side, what is the limit? 5 from another side, what is the limit? Like that. Okay. They can be discussed more with the questions than telling any theory about it. Okay. Apart from that, there are some questions which has to be done by using trigonometric different functions expansions. Frankly, in mains, generally they did not give so many questions which need expansions. All right. But in advanced exam, there will be questions where you have to use expansions. But we don't know. It is within the syllabus, so they can give. If you know few 3-4 expansions, that is good enough. Sin x, cos x, e power x, e power minus x. If you know these four, you can manage most of the questions. In our first year mains material, where limits chapter is there, we gave all the expansion formulas at the end of the chapter. Okay. Sin x expansion is x minus x cube by 3 factorial plus x power 5 by 5 factorial, so on. Cos x expansion is 1 minus x square by 2 factorial plus x power 4 by 4 factorial minus x power 6 by 6 factorial, so on. E power x is 1 plus x by 1 factorial, x square by 2 factorial, x cube by 3 factorial, so on. Replace x with minus x, will get e power minus x expansion. Okay, now these two, in general, I'm just giving an idea. It may not be so important, but just giving an idea how these are derived, so that if you forget, you can derive it. Is that is called Taylor's expansion or Maclaurin series? It is called. Let's say there is any function. You want to write it as a plus bx square plus bx plus cx square plus dx cube, so on. I'll give you f of x. You have to find all these things. For example, my f of x is sin x or cos x. How to find all these things? Anybody want to give an idea how to find a? This is known to you. You have to find all these numbers a, b, c, d. Simply put x equal to 0. Who said that? That's good. Simply put x equal to 0. You'll get a equal to f of 0. Anybody want to give an idea how to find b? Nobody's saying. How to find b? Huh? X equal to 1 will get a plus b plus c plus d, everything. I want only b. Differentiate and put x equal to 0. When you differentiate, what is f dash x? A will be gone, b plus 2cx plus 3dx square. Now put x equal to 0, they're all gone. B will be f dash 0. So this b will be f dash 0. How to find c? Differentiate one more time, we'll get f double dash x, we'll get 2c here. Okay. Then c is not f double dash 0 by 2 factorial. D will be f triple dash 0 by 3 factorial. E will be f4, okay, fourth derivative and all. So we have this Taylor's expansion which says f of x is equal to f of 0, f dash 0 by 1 factorial into x, f double dash 0 by 2 factorial into x square, f triple dash 0 by 3 factorial into x cube, so on. Based on that, all these are derived. So whenever you forget any one of them, you can use this and derive it. Okay. For tan x you want to know, or something secant x, something you wanted to know. But we don't use all these things. Generally, we use this more often. E power x, everybody remembers expansion because we use it many places. We replace x with minus x. But I want to tell another way to remember sin x and cos x. I generally remember this. I don't do this. In complex numbers, you know e power ix is equal to cos x plus I sin x. E power ix expansion based on e power x is 1 plus ix by 1 factorial, ix whole square by 2 factorial, and ix whole cube by 3 factorial, so on. Equate real parts on both sides, you'll get cos x expansion. Equate imaginary parts on both sides, you'll get sin x expansion. What is cos x real part here? Here minus x square by 2 factorial. Later on x power 4 by 4 factorial, so on. Similarly this. Okay. But I don't have to spend too much time on this because in mains generally the questions are based on the beginning formulas already discussed, not this. What happened? What I wrote. Just now explain how to find A, B, C, D. Na? I kept it back. In the place of A, I kept f of 0. In the place of B, I kept f dash 0. In the place of C, f double dash 0 by 2 factor. If you want sin x expansion, take f of x as sin x, find all these numbers, you'll get sin x expansion, tan x like this. Is it okay? Okay, there are a few more things. Limit extends to infinity, log x by x is 0. Why? When x is very, very large, this is also very large, this is also very large. But compared to this is very, very high. Let me give some idea. If you take log x base 2 by x and take x as roughly 2 power 100 or something, okay? Instead of base, I am taking base 2. Numerator is only 100, but denominator is 2 power 100. This is only a 2-digit number. This is around some 33 digits. Even if I cancel, I think this value will come 0 point some 28 zeros will come. If I take 2 power 1000, this will be 1000, this will be 2 power 1000. If I cancel this part, I think I'll get 0 point some 800 or 300 zeros will come, and then something will come. So it will be tending to very, very small, it will practically 0. Okay. Even though it is infinity by infinity form, still it is 0. Quite similar to that, limit extends to infinity, x by e power x is also 0 because this is much bigger than this. This one can be written another way. Limit extends to 0, I can write x log x is also 0. Why? Write x as 1 by x. Log 1 by x is minus log x. This x will go up when you write 1 by x, you'll get this. If it is e power x by x, infinity, because e power x is much bigger. E power x is much bigger than x. In fact, from here you can get this. Take log x as t. What is x e power t? T by e power t. And next, this if I take it here, we have one more. Limit extends to 0. X power x is equal to 1. Because log of something, this can be written as log of x power x. Log of something is 0 means the inner part will be 1. Next, this 1 by x, if we take it power, both are same basically. Limit extends to infinity. X power 1 by x is also 1. This 1 by x, make it power here, remove the log. Okay. Sometimes you'll find questions in the form of 0 power 0, infinity power infinity, 0 power infinity, and infinity power 0. This is not an issue, it will be infinity. This is not an issue, it will be 0 because base is so small and power is so big, it will be tending to 0. These two things will be a problem. If whenever something in this form, we take that limit equal to k and apply log on both sides, you'll be able to use one of these relations. For example, here it is 0 power 0 form, here it is infinity power 0 form. We take equal to k and apply log, we will be able to use one of the previous results. Okay. So both that expansions and this, in mains the chances are little less to ask about these things. Okay. But just in case they may ask, we are telling. Otherwise, the beginning formulas you have to be thorough. Apart from all that, we have one golden rule, L'Hospital rule. If you don't know anything and the question is 0 by 0 form, simply find derivative of the numerator by derivative of the denominator, you get a new expression whose limit can be found easily maybe. Okay. With infinity by infinity form also you can use L'Hospital rule. Okay. Only in these two cases. Don't use L'Hospital rule just like that anything. Okay. Or sometimes you have to use intelligently L'Hospital rule. Let us say something by something into something by something into something by something. Let us say this there. Actually, according to limits, this alone I can use a formula and I can get an answer. Let's say here answer is 2, here answer is 5, here answer is 7. I can multiply. But they may give this whole product by this whole product. If you directly use L'Hospital rule, it will be a problem because UBW rule you have to use and you'll not be able to get. So at least you should be a little intelligent to decide what should I separate out of this here, out of this here. And each one, if you want, you can use L'Hospital rule. If you want. Okay. So like that, some questions, but don't only rely on L'Hospital rule. I will not say anything about limits. Any question. Okay. Just one rule. Numerator derivative by denominator. No, it is not. It should be 0 by 0 form or infinity by infinity form. And after using L'Hospital rule, the question should become simple, not complicated unnecessary. Okay, that's it. Now let us do some set of questions. Today they said 1 to 20 we should do from the limit. So in that I'll do multiples of 3. Whether they're easy or difficult doesn't matter. See, very third question, simple question they gave in 2019. Okay, so this is what I'm saying that As long as you don't give up your preparation, okay, you be in touch, okay, definitely you'll be able to find some questions, at least you'll be able to do, okay. And this time 4 attempts are there. First attempt reach some level, by second attempt you can reach a better level or something like that. Okay. One thing you should not do is giving up. As long as you're in touch with the subject, you'll be able to do something or other. Okay. They said these two limits are equal. This is like 1, I can write 1 whole power 4. X power n minus a power n by x minus a. N into a power n minus 1. So 4 into 1 whole power 4 minus 1. This I said formula is m by n into a power m minus n. So 3 by 2 into k power 3 minus 2. Okay. X power n minus a power n by x minus a. X power m minus a power m by x power n minus a power n is m by n a power m minus n. This is 4. This is 3 by 2 k. K is 8 by 2. Of course, you don't have to know this formula also, if it is for this question. Somebody can factorize this. This one, when you factorize, you'll get 1 plus x square plus x cube. How? Is this a geometric progression? What is sum of 4 terms of this GP? 1 into 1 a minus a into 1 minus r power n, which is x power 4 by 1 minus r. Take minus common, it is this only, right? Okay. Another way is x power 4 minus 1. And if it is this, very easy, put x equal to 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 r plus 4. Otherwise, another thing you can write x square plus 1 into x square minus 1 by x minus 1. That x square minus 1, you can write x minus 1 into x plus 1. Cancel. This is 2 and this is 2. 2 into 2 is 4. Either way, you can do it. Even here, aq minus bq formula, use it. A square minus b square formula, use it. X minus k will cancel and you can substitute it also. Okay. And the general point is some people either they want a very good rank or they don't want at all. Okay. Some people, like, I'm sure in your 8th class, 9th class, 10th class, your parents might have bombarded. Okay. Go to IIT, go to IIT, go to IIT, and all that. Okay. So now sometimes when people realize that they are not going to get a good IIT rank or a very good rank, okay, that is why they want out of 300 or 250 marks, but they are only getting 120 or 150 or 170 or 190. They start giving up. Okay, that is not a good thing. Okay, yes, you want to get 300 out of 300, goal may be good. Okay, not that if you get 120, you will give up. From there, you improve whatever is possible. Okay, not that everybody will have same capacity. All right, try to do your best. Then keep an artificial goal for yourself that I want that or I want nothing. Okay, improve yourself, and also all opportunities for you are given, and try to use it. You don't have to compare. For example, somebody may be in ASB, somebody is maybe in another room. Okay, you don't have to worry. We are giving any separate coaching for them. In ASB also, we are doing past year mains questions only. In room number 3 also, I am discussing this only. Today I discuss same theory, same questions, same numbers only. It is not that I am teaching some extra methods. Okay, they just separated. I am going to that class and teaching. That's all. Otherwise, there is no difference. Only difference is for them classes maybe in the till afternoon, where they'll get additional time to prepare on their own. You can also sit at home and do it, and we are ready to clarify the doubts. Okay, so don't because last year also I have seen your seniors, which I did not teach them in the main campus. Okay, I was teaching ASB. A lot of people from main campus, they went into IITs. Not just they got IIT rank, they went into IIT. Getting IIT rank is different, going to IIT is different. Because some ranks will get rank, but will not get any seats. Okay. A lot of people went into IIT and a lot of people got very good NIT seats. Okay. Even some people, that means may not be that means college first person and second person, but within the college rankings, recent college rankings, the fourth person and the seventh person, ninth and 10th person, there are quite a few from that place. They went to IITs and they got NITs. Okay. And some of them were combined with ASB for some time. They said there's no difference. Whatever we learned there, here also we are learning there. Okay. Just a matter of practice only, otherwise there's no difference. Okay. So it is up to you. For example, especially coming to revision, limits the formulas are same. If you want to do practice 20 questions, 100 questions, 1000 questions, up to you. Okay. So there is nothing stopping you, and don't think because of this person, and because of this I did not get. No. If you are not working, it is only because of you, not for any other thing. If you get also, it is because of you. If you don't get also, it is because of you, not because of anybody else. Others are, they're just doing their duty to provide some facilities. That's all. Frankly, if any one of you get rank, I should not take any credit. Right? Whatever intelligence you gave, you have. Did I give the intelligence? God has given you intelligence. God has given me intelligence. Right? Different people have different intelligence. How much hard work you want to do? Of course, you have a choice. You want to study 1 hour or 10 hours. God is not fixing. It is you are fixing. God is giving an opportunity, right? Okay, so it is up to you how much you use it. But those are working sincerely. They should not think I'm working, but still I'm not getting marks. Yeah, different people have speed, different maturity levels are different. Okay, you may be able to do before the exam, but in that exam, within the time you are not getting ideas, you are not able to do, you don't remember some formula, or you may think in first year I used to do this chapter very well, now I am not able to do. Yes, first year limits were taught for 3 weeks, now we are teaching for 3 days. Okay, so because of that, those things. But as long as you are sincere, something good will come out. Okay, sixth one. Limit extends to 0. 27 plus x whole power 1 by 3. Minus 3 is given. I'll write 27 whole power 1 by 3. I'll write something here. Denominator I'm writing here after taking minus common. 27 plus x power 2 by 3. Minus 9 can be written as 27 power 2 by 3. I'm going to divide with 27 plus x minus 27. Here also divide with 27 plus x minus 27. Okay, the question is actually here 3 is there. I wrote this one. Actually, these two reverse are there. I took minus common. And here some 9 is there. I wrote like this. Same thing I divided here and here. Why I have done all this? If I take this as like x power n minus a power n by x minus a, this answer will be n into a power n minus 1. Here also x power n minus a power n by x minus a. In fact, I don't have to do this also. It's like x power m minus a power m by x power n minus a power n. M by n into a power m minus 1 also I can do it. Let me not even do this. Okay, if you call this at t, t will be tending to 27. T power m minus a power m by t power n minus a power n. With a minus common, I'll get 1 by 3 by 2 by 3, m by n. 27 whole power 1 by 3 minus 2 by 3. Or if somebody says I want to do numerator separate, denominator separate, you do this. Right, to 27 plus x minus 27. Here also 27 plus x minus 27. The numerator will come 1 by 3 into 27 whole power 1 by 3 minus 1. And denominator will be 2 by 3 into 27 whole power 2 by 3 minus 1. Okay. And simplify this, this only will come. Okay. I prefer try to learn this. Okay. 3 as 27 for 1 by 3. Yeah, you can also denominator, you can use a square minus b square, numerator will directly cancel. That's also good. You can use your L'Hospital rule also, it will come nicely. 0 by 0 form, you can use L'Hospital rule. Yes. Yeah, denominator they give 2 by 3, you are able to do. Let us say they have given 4 by 5 and some 4 by 5. Then you will not be able to do by that factorization. But yes, your observation is good. That 27 plus x whole power 1 by 3 minus 27 power 1 by 3, keep it minus 3 only. The denominator, after taking minus common 9, you can write 3 square. This you can write 27 plus x whole power 1 by 3 whole square. A square a minus b, this is a square minus b square. You can write a minus b into a plus b and cancel out, right? Okay. So you can do either way. Yeah, this can be factorized as 27 plus x whole power 1 by 3 plus 3 into one more thing which will cancel with this and substitute it. Is it okay? You want to use L hospital rule? Fine. What is the derivative of this? 1 by 3 into 27 plus x whole power 1 by 3 minus 1. Actually, this is exactly this one. When you put x equal to 0. What is the derivative of the denominator? What is the denominator? This one, including minus 2 by 3 into 27 plus x whole power 2 by 3 minus 1. And then put x equal to 0. You'll get the same answer. Okay. So denominator a square minus b square, you can write a plus b a minus b, one method. Another method is just like this and use numerator one formula, denominator one formula. Or directly x power n minus a power n by x power n minus a power n is m by n, a power m minus n. Or you can use L-Hospital rule. All are fine. Okay, next ninth question. Limit extends to 0 sine pi cos square x by x square. Normally, when you have sine of something, we'll divide and multiply with that, so that this will be like sine theta by theta, limit will be 1. But we can only use that if theta is tending to 0. But here if you see, this total is tending to 0, but not the inner part. When I put x equal to 0, cos 0 is 1, it will become pi, sine pi is 0. But pi cos square x is not becoming 0. So I cannot divide with pi cos square x and multiply with pi cos square x. So what to do? Sine theta, I'm going to write sine 180 minus theta, pi minus pi cos square by x square. That will become sine pi sine square x. Okay. Now this is becoming 0. I can divide with pi sine square x, multiply with pi sine square x, and divide with x square. Okay. Sine theta by theta, this limit is 1. This is also limit is 1. We'll be left with 1 into pi into 1, which is pi. Or use L-Hospital rule, it will come. If you use L-Hospital rule, derivative of this is cos pi cos square x into pi into 2 cos x into minus sin x by 2x. This will become sin 2x. This will become 2x. Sin 2x by x is limit, or sin x by x limit is 1. 2 will cancel. Cos 0 is 1. We'll get a minus. Here when you put 0, cos pi, another minus. Minus 1 to minus cancel, we'll get pi. Like that also. So either by L-Hospital rule or this way. Okay. 6. What happened about 6? We got minus 1. Outside we wrote minus. In the denominator we took minus common. We did not notice. I was writing minus. Okay. I can erase, right? So online people also, this material you can take print out on their own if you want. Okay, because always looking at the phone is not good. But either online or offline people, either you can take print on your own. But if you want to, if you're coming to college, you want to take a print, you can contact Jogirandi sir and pay 200 rupees and you can take the book. Okay. They're using L-Hospital rule. Okay. Okay. So there's a minus here, right?
And here there's minus on the powers. I shifted both.
Okay, that's okay. That's not a big issue, but this minus still remains. 2 cannot go up. 2 will be down on. Down 2 cannot take it up. All right. Okay, 12. Limit extends to 2 tan x minus 2. Numerator, the other part, if you factorize it, there is a quadratic expression. I am writing directly factorization of that. It is x minus 2 into x plus k. And denominator is x minus 2 whole square. I can write x minus 2 into x minus 2. I can cancel this x minus 2. This limit is 1. And that limit is 2 plus k. And the answer is given as 5. You'll get k equal to 3. So you don't have to use unnecessarily L-Hospital rule every time. Here, if you try to use L-Hospital rule, unnecessarily will be complicated. Okay. More easy. Simply factorize the quadratic, cancel out. Okay. Next to 15. Limit extends to pi by 4 cot cube x minus tan x by cos x plus pi by 4. If you use L-Hospital rule also will come nicely. Not a problem at all. 0 by 0 form. Okay. Apart from L-Hospital rule, I am going to take cot cube x common in the numerator. I'll get 1 minus tan power 4. Here when I expand this cos a plus b formula, I'll get cos x minus sin x by root 2. Here I'll take cos x common. So I'll get cot cube x into 1 minus tan x. This root 2 will go up by cos x common. This is power 4, 1 minus tan. I'm taking cos x common. Okay. Now this part, you can write a square minus b square 2 times and cancel out this. It is like x power 4 minus a power 4 by x minus a. Okay, this limit will be 4 only. Like we were done in third question. Just today only we are done in third question. Okay. Coming to this, directly cot pi by 4 is 1. This is 1 by root 2. Root 2 by 1 by root 2 into 4, it will be 8. Now we are clear how this is 4. You write 1 minus tan square into 1 plus tan square. But 1 minus tan square, again you write 1 minus tan into 1 plus tan. 1 minus tan will cancel. Or directly this is 1 plus tan square plus tan cube. Or you take minus common, it is like x power n minus a power n by x minus c. Without all that, directly use L-Hospital rule also, it will come nicely, not complicated. 12th one L-Hospital unnecessarily complicated. I have to take this into derivative of this into derivative of this. Why to waste time? You got k as it. You got this as 10. You got k plus 2 equal 10. No, answer they gave 5 already. So you might have got here k plus 2 by 2 or something. From here to here? Not from here to here, from here to here and then here. Then. Okay, everybody fine with 15? Okay, 18. They gave a quadratic expression with roots as alpha, beta. So I'm going to write ax square plus bx plus c as a into x minus alpha into x minus beta. Writing this a is important. Otherwise, the coefficient x square doesn't match. And the limit is limit extends to alpha 1 minus cos of ax square plus bx plus c. I'm going to divide with ax square plus bx plus c whole square and multiply with ax square plus bx plus c whole square and down x minus alpha whole square. The question is this by this, but I divide with this and multiply with this. If this is theta, 1 minus cos theta by theta square, where theta is tending to 0, limit is 1 by 2. We have a formula. Okay. Coming to this, I can write inside as a into x minus alpha into x minus beta whole square by x minus alpha whole square. X minus alpha will cancel. Now 1 by 2 into a into alpha minus beta whole square. This answer. Okay, don't just rely on L'Hospital rule. Okay, thinking that I don't have to study any limits formulas. Okay, nothing wrong. You can use L'Hospital rule. For that also some intelligence is required. But some questions L'Hospital rule is better. Some questions using regular formulas is better. Okay, now I'll discuss if you have any doubts in functions. Other limits questions up to 20 you have to try as today's homework. If you have doubts, tomorrow I'll discuss. After finishing this, if you have any doubts in functions, please ask. This is A square only. Okay. A is within this, right? Have all of it completed all the numbers in functions? Almost. Okay. $39 in functions. Okay. I discussed in the class, right? No? All multiples of 3 I discussed. I did not reach there. I sent from the graph 3 different methods. I said, isn't it not? Maybe same question is there before. That's why. From there on. Okay. F of x equal to x. I said one method. How to find it. Why did I discuss before? I discussed. Okay, fine. Anything else in functions? Part 2, fourth question. Part 1? 17, 1 7. Okay. First of all, if you have any doubts in part 1, you ask, then we'll go to part 2. Part 1, 17, replace x with 1 minus x. By the way, yesterday I sent the solutions for functions. Some solutions may not be so nice. I asked one student to write. Okay. So here and there something may, but we'll overall idea will get how to approach the question. F of x plus 2f of 1 minus x equal to x square plus 1. Replace x with 1 minus x. You'll get f of 1 minus x, 2f of x equal to 1 minus x whole square plus 1, which is x square minus 2x plus 2. Okay, this we replaced x with 1 minus x. Now, what you don't want to eliminate it, what you want, you will get it. You have to eliminate this. So, if you call this as equation 1 and this is equation 2, equation 1 minus 2 times equation 2. Multiply this with 2 and subtract this will get cancelled. You will get f of x minus 4f of x is x square plus 1 minus 2 times x square minus 2x plus 2. So what will I get? Minus 3 f of x equal to minus x square plus 4x minus 4 means minus 3. Yeah. What is that they want now? They want the range. So you can make perfect square and do it. F of x is x square minus 4x plus 3 by 3. I should write on the top around and way. So f of x is x square minus 4x plus 3 by 3. This is x minus 2 whole square minus 1 by 3. Something whole square minimum is 0. This whole minimum is minus 1 by 3. So minus 1 by 3 to infinity. Option A, closed interval minus 1 by 3 to infinity. Anyway, you know for a quadratic expression, the minimum value is 4ac minus b square by 4a. Like that also you can do it. You studied in quadratic equations in IP. Is it okay, 17? Part 1, anything else in functions, doubts? 19, 1 9. Yeah. This is a good question. Oh, where limit is there, limit extends to alpha is not it. Limit extends to alpha is the question. Okay. Okay. So before explaining 19, let me talk about a little bit about that question only. Normally, if I give a function definition and ask f of 7 or f of 8, okay, you can find it. Such that x equal to 7, find the answer. Such that 8 will get answer. But sometimes I may ask set a is equal to 7 comma 8 comma 20 and ask f of a. What does it mean? If asked this sentence is very simple, but what is f of a set means? Anybody know? Take f of 7, write the answer, f of 8, write the answer, f of 20 together. That is called f of a. Take elements of a, find their images, put together is called f of a. Is it clear? Okay. Now, they defined g of a is something different here. I'll talk about it, but let us see if somebody can answer this. I have a function from set A to set B. Okay. Within this few elements, I will take it as set C. There is a function from A to B. Some of the elements of A together I call set C. I will find their images. I will find their pre-images back. Will I get set C or not? Take all the elements in set C, find their images. Take those images, find their pre-images. Will I get set C back or not? Yeah, sometimes you make it set C, sometimes you make it more. Why? Especially when it is not 1, 1. I'll tell you an example. You take 7, 8, 9. 7 is connected to A and 8 and 9 are connected to B. But I'll take set A as only 7 and 8, nothing else. Then what is f of, and there is a C here and there is some L here. What is f of A will come? A and B. Okay. If what are the pre-images of A and B put together? 7, 8, 9 also, because B has one more pre-image. Okay. So that is exactly the question is based on this concept. Okay. They defined G as pre-images of set A. Okay. What they want is, what they defined G of A what? X such that f of x belongs to A. Here when they are talking about G of A, they are saying set A is here, their pre-images together is called G of A. So that is the question. Anyway, I'll explain the whole thing once again now. Okay, f R to R, f of x equal to x square. All right. This is also real numbers. This is also real numbers. There is a function f connecting to that. Okay. Now, in the options, if you see, there are 4 things I have to find. I have to find what is f of s, what is g of s, what is f of g of s, and what is g of f of s. Okay, these are the 4 things I have to find, and then see which options are s itself. Okay, what is s given in the question? 0 to 4. What is f of s means? All the images of s put together. According to the function f of x equal to x square, anybody want to tell what is f of s will come? 0 to 60. Yeah. Let us see you can answer this. What is g of s means? Take set s here, the codomain. Find their pre-images. You take all the numbers from 0 to 4 here and find pre-images. What will come? Yeah, it is not 0 to 2, it is minus 2 to 2. That is important here. If you take here, 2 is also connected to 4, minus 2 is also connected to 4. If you take 1 here, 1 is also connected to that, minus 1 is also connected to that. So here, if you take 0 to 4, the numbers, find their pre-images, you will get minus 2 to 2 everything. Okay, this is important to write. So this is minus 2 to 2. Anybody any objection to this? F of s means images of s. G of s means s. In here, s is here and you are finding images. Here, s is here and you are finding pre-images. Okay. Now let us see what is f of g of s. F of what is g of s? Minus 2 to 2. Okay. You take all the elements from minus 2 to 2 and find images. What will come? 0 to 4. You take every number between minus 2 to 2 and square it. What will come? 0 to 4, which is s itself. Okay, basically I can ask like this. Please listen once again. If somebody may be a little confused, with this they'll understand. But if you take a set A here, find their images and find pre-images back, you may not get A, you may get something more than A. But if you take set B here, find pre-images and find their images back, we'll get B only, nothing more, nothing less. Listen to this. You start with here, find their pre-images and then find their images back. You will get B or something more than B or something less than B. You will get B only. You cannot get anything more. Because one element here cannot have 2 images, then it is not even a function. Right? So that example will not be able to give. Okay, this question is all about it. And we're coming to G of f of s. G of, what is f of s we got? 0 to 4. F of s 0 to 16, yeah. Now tell, if you take pre-images of 0 to 16 here, 0 to 16 is here, their pre-images, what will come? Yeah, it is not 0 to 4, it is minus 4 to 4. Okay. And that is not there anywhere. It's not S. Is it S? No. Is it F of S? No. Is it G of S? No. Okay. So now let us look at the options. Let us look at option A and option C together. G of F of S. Okay. We got S. Okay. So option C is wrong because they said it is not equal to S. Okay. So option C is wrong. And option A, is it correct? Is it G of S? No. right? So A is wrong, right? Coming to B and D, f of g of s, sorry, B. Where did I write? Someone I did not see. Option A and C are about g of f of s, which is minus 4 to 4, which is not there any one of them. Option B. Option B is correct, right? F of g of s is s. 1 minute. So they asked which of the statement is not true. That means many statements should be true. Okay. So C is a correct statement because it's not equal to S. What about A? A is wrong. What about B? Correct. What about D? Is also correct because if this means it's not equal to this. Okay. So C, B, D are true and A is not true and ask which of the following is not true. Okay. Huh? I explained already. Then why somebody asked me? You should have told me, na? I should have just see the recording. Why did you explain? It is 19. It is not a multiple of 3, na? Why did I explain? In which class? Oh, okay, okay. Okay. Which one? 43. Yeah. Okay, 43. You can write this as, if you write all denominators same, it is easy to compare. So I'm going to write minus 100 by 300, minus 103 by 300, minus 106 by 300. At the last, minus 100, 300 means 400, minus 397 by 300. Okay. The main point here is, here without minus this is between 0 to 1. With minus it is between minus 1 to 0. Any number between minus 1 to 0, integer part is minus 1. Right? Any number between minus 1 to 0, the greatest integer value of that is minus 1. So this is also minus 1, this is also minus 1, this is also minus 1. This is without minus, it is between 1 and 2 because the numerator is more than 300. Ratio is more than 1 and less than 600. If something is between 1 and 2, negative of that is between minus 2 to minus 1. If anything is between minus 2 to minus 1, integer part is minus 2. So some of them are minus 1 and some of them are minus 2. You have to just recognize that. First of all, you have to understand these are total 100 terms. Not from here, directly from the question. Because in the question, the second bracket, second term is 1 by 100. Next one has 2 by 100. Last one has 99 by 100. Except first bracket, 99 terms, and the first bracket together is 100 terms. So first of all, understand these are 100 terms. Now you have to recognize how many of them are minus 1, how many of them are minus 2. That's all. Okay, so as long as the numerator crosses 300, it will become minus 2. If it doesn't cross 300, it will be minus 1. So I have to look at what is the last element here. So when I look at the few elements in between, and keep on adding 3. So if I want to come to close to 300, I have to be adding something close to 200 a multiple of 3. What is the multiple of 290? Yes, 90. So when I add 100, minus 290, 300 will be there. Before that, minus 295 by 300 is there. And after this, minus 301 by 300 is there. Minus 304 by 300 is also there. Please see minus 1, minus 1, this is minus 1, this is minus 1. But from here, what they're all minus 2. Because the Okay, online people, you're able to see now? Online people, can you see now board?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. I hope you did not miss it. I was just looking at this side and teaching. Okay. The problem is I have to also sometimes see whether my network is good and all. Okay. What I said basically here is these are total 100 terms. Okay. How did we know that? In the question, we have 1 by 100 in second bracket, 2 by 100 in third bracket, last bracket has 99 by 100, that is 99 terms, and if you include first term, it is 100 terms. I am saying that here I wrote all denominators 300 so that I can compare easily. All right. As long as the numerator is less than 300 without minus, my integer part will be minus 1. When it is more than 300, my integer part will be minus 2 because of the minus. Okay. It is only up to you recognizing how many are there minus 1s, how many minus 2s. Okay. So this is an arithmetic progression 100, 103, 106, 298. You can find how many terms are these. Or this is 100 plus 0, this is 100 plus 3, this is 100 plus 6, this is 100 plus 198. We take 0, 3, 6, 198. These are how many terms? This is 3 times how much? 66 plus this, 67. Okay, so please understand all these things are 67 terms. Automatically, these are 33. Or you can say another way, 301, write it as 0. Subtract 301 everywhere. This will become 0. That will become 3. Next will be 6. The last one, when you remove 301, it will become 96. When you remove 301. This 3 times 32 plus including this 33. Okay. Now, so 67 terms each is minus 1. 33 terms each is minus 2. So this is minus 133. Or you can say another way, 100 terms all minus 1. All 100 terms minus 1. The last 33 terms will give another one more extra minus 1. So another 33 extra. So minus 133. 100 minus 1s plus 33 more minus 1s. So minus 133. Okay, part 1 functions. Anybody has any other doubt? Okay. Somebody asked part 2 fourth question. I'll discuss that also. Yes. Up to? Today I think I'll be there. Okay, in part 2 fourth question. What was the question? Part 2 fourth question. Just read little bit, I can understand. Oh, this one. Sine inverse mod x plus y by x square plus 1. Sine inverse mod x plus 5 by x square plus 1. They want natural domain of this basically. That's the question. So this should be between minus 1 to 1. Mod x plus 5 by x square plus 1 is less than or equal to 1 and more than minus 1. Okay. Frankly, this part I don't have to check this part. Why? This is positive, this is positive, this is positive, this is positive, this is positive number, which will be always greater than 1. So don't have to check for this side, I have to check only this side. Okay, so this is fine, this part I have to check. I can send this denominator there. Normally multiplying denominator this side is not a good idea because we don't know whether it's positive or negative. Inequality may change. But this is positive. I can send it. A positive quantity greater than -1. Any objection? Right? No. Send this one here. Mod x plus 5 is less than or equal to x square plus 1. No, sine inverse of something is defined when it is between -1 to 1. I am not saying this is written -1. Let us say all my numbers are greater than 7. Can I say all these numbers are greater than or equal to 3 also? If a number is more than 7, will it be more than 3? Then one may say, okay, let me ask this. Let's talk about only natural numbers, nothing else. All natural numbers which are greater than 7, they are also greater than 4. No, sorry, they are also, they are also greater than 2. If this is true, this is true. Will you agree? Yes. If this is true, will this be true? Okay, who is saying? For example, one may say this also, in this also 3 is there, na? It is not becoming 3, then why are you saying? We are only saying when a number is more than 7, it will belong to this set also. We are not saying it will be 10. Frankly, there is no difference between these two if I talk about natural numbers. Purposely I gave this. Greater than 2 and natural number means what? Greater than or equal to 3, na? Are they both same? Yes. But it looks like when this is true, but this is not true. You feel like that. Because you are thinking that it is not attaining 3. Here also 3 is there, it is not attaining, but still you are saying it, no? Okay. We are simply saying when a number is more than 7, it will satisfy this inequality and this inequality. We are not saying it will satisfy every number in this, or it will cover all the numbers. Okay. The same way, I am not saying this written -1. I am saying this will be between -1 to infinity. It will be within that. Okay, so this part is not necessary. This part. Somebody may say I have to take x positive and x negative to solve this, but not required. I'll tell you. Can I write x square as mod x square? X square and mod x are always same. Okay. Now send everything that side. Mod x square minus mod x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 0. Bring this one here, this one here. Okay. This is a simple quadratic expression. Find the roots. It will be like mod x minus alpha into mod x minus beta greater than or equal to 0. And according to quadratic inequality, you will get alpha and beta. It can be more than beta or less than alpha. That's what we'll get, right? Okay. But when you find the roots of this, your alpha will come 1 plus root 17. So 1 minus root 17 by 2, 1 plus root 17 by 2. So you'll finally get mod x less than 1 minus root 17 by 2 or mod x greater than 1 plus root 17 by 2. But this is not okay because mod x is positive. Please don't waste time. Mod x less than cannot be less than negative number, right? Mod x can be greater than positive number. Forget about all this. When mod x is greater than 5, what will you say? X can be more than 5 or less than -5 also. Okay. For example, you take -6, -7, -100. Okay. So mod x greater than k means x is either more than k or less than -k. In the same way, mod x greater than this means either x is greater than or equal to 1 plus root 17 by 2 or x is less than or equal to minus of 1 plus root 17 by 2. That is exactly minus infinity to -1 minus root 17 by 2 union 1 plus root 17 by 2 to infinity. This is like minus infinity to minus k union k to infinity. They ask what is that k? That is this one. 1 plus root 17 by 2. Okay, so we also have very simple mains questions. Sometimes something can be little tricky or lengthy or you have to do carefully. You have to tell me. We have only seen one chapter. Let us look at other chapters. If you find all part 2s, we are asking paper 1 versus paper 2, not part 1 versus part 2. No, paper 1, paper 2, same level. There is no difference. They don't differentiate at all. Actually, the computer selects, and for all of them, they make same maths papers. Randomly, 2 of them they'll put in JEE Mains paper 2, other thing they'll put JEE paper 1. Okay. So those are planning to write JEE Mains paper 2. The maths is not easier than JEE Mains paper 1, not tougher. It is just one random paper like other papers. I thought you were asking about 2020 papers versus the previous paper. That functions seem to be little tough relatively than the up to 2019 questions, except we don't know about other chapters. Actually, frankly, year to year, they should increase the level of the paper, because many of us think that we are better than our elders. Okay, we are more intelligent than the previous people. We think like that. They say generation to generation, human being is becoming more intelligent. They say, okay, then paper should get tougher, right? After 40 years back, papers you should be able to solve just like that. Ask the IIT questions, you should be able to all subjective questions just whatever you should be able to solve. They are 40 years ahead than others. One generation ahead completely. So maybe Darwin's theory is completely wrong. I think Newton's son should be more intelligent than Newton. Einstein's son should be more intelligent than Einstein. According to evolution, right? That's what Darwin's theory says. Okay, we'll go to maths and determinants now. Anybody heard of this word construction destruction paradox? A frame is phrase. Construction destruction paradox. Okay. It looks like a lot of technology we are finding it. A lot of improvement, science and technology is going way high. Many times they only create the problem and they solve it, appear to be solving it. They look like they found something. Okay. I was talking to my son, small things. He's a first grade student, but okay. So he's talking about water purifier. It's so nice that we are able to drink pure water. I said, who polluted the water? In my childhood, we don't have need a pure water purifier. I used to go to any house just like that. I used to play in the some houses. You can go to any house and ask water and drink it. There's no problem. Okay. The same people who polluted the water, they appeared like we found that a reverse osmosis process and all these things and teach in chemistry. It's all stupid. You create the problem and you create the solution. You create more. All these water purifiers, you need so much plastic and a big factory, and where will you discard all these things? What are you going to do it? I feel quite a bit of this is simply humbug. Okay. Yes, please. And somebody was saying to me, no, this mobile phones and all, we are able to talk is very, very good. Otherwise, people are staying in different places. Without this, we will not have any relationships. Okay. So they are actually helping in the relationship. I told them, no, they are not actually spoiling the relationship. Why? Because mobile phones are not there, people will not stay far. They'll close on. They'll stay close on. Right? If this transport is not there, somebody will say, how will I go to my grandparents' house who is in another place? If this transport is not there, people will be living in the same village where your grandparents are there. Why you need? You will be talking to them every day. Sorry. Okay, maths and determinants. I remember when in my school days there is a lesson. Quiet. Anybody is coming to offline, I don't want to see you talking in the class. If you want, stay at home, do whatever you want. Is it clear? They're total nonsense. You're coming to offline and simply talking in the class. Don't you have any shame? Within 1.5 months, you have JEE Mains exam. What kind of seriousness you have? And you want to pat us, no, you're doing very nicely, come and all that. I feel online is much better. Because nonsense people, let them do whatever nonsense. I can, those are responding, I'll teach. Already you have to worry about network and teach class and all that, you're simply talking. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you should feel ashamed. The kind of person you are. Those are talking, I'm telling. Don't have minimum common sense. If you have doubt, you ask me. Very simple. Okay, 50, what are today's numbers we have to do it. I discussed something about the determinants yesterday. So we'll see if you're crossing that and adjoint and all, I'll discuss some theory if required. Today is Wednesday, right? So 88 to 147 numbers. Oh, that we are finishing here. So I have to tell the theory then. Okay. So we'll come back to the doubts. Okay. I think all the theory I have to finish today only, including system of equations. Let me complete it. So we discussed about determinant. I'm going to discuss now about cofactors, adjoint matrix, some properties of inverse and adjoint, and then ultimately system of equations. And Cayley-Hamilton theorem I explained yesterday itself. I can give one or two more examples if necessary. Okay. Cofactors, even if you take a 10 by 10 matrix, what is a cofactor? There are a lot of elements. You take any element, if you want cofactor, forget about that column and that row. You will left with lot of elements. Don't change the order, keep them as it is. Just remove this and bring them close. That is, remove this gap, move it here, remove this and move it here, kind of thing. Okay? All right. Without change the order. This is called a submatrix of this. This will have one determinant. All right? That determinant into -1 whole power I plus j. Should I teach determinant first or cofactor first? No, they are side by side, because if you want to define cofactor, you have to talk about determinant. But what is the determinant of a 3 by 3 matrix? This into its cofactor, this into its cofactor, this into its cofactor. So which one came first? So we talk about cofactors of 2 by 2 first. Okay. Then we talk about, first of all, we're talking about determinant of a 1 by 1 matrix. Okay. Then come to 2 by 2, we talk about cofactors, and then define 2 by 2 determinant. Then when you go to 3 by 3, we'll be talking about cofactors first, which are all 2 by 2 determinant. And then we can talk about determinant of 3 by 3. Like that it goes. Cofactor, determinant, cofactor, determinant. Okay. But you know, now it doesn't matter. So coming to 2 by 2, which is very, very simple. The cofactor of A is B itself. Cofactor of B is, forget about this row, this column C, but into minus is also there, so minus C. Cofactor of C is minus B. And cofactor of D is A. All right. These are cofactor matrix. When you transpose it, what you get is called adjoint matrix. So that is D minus B minus C A. This is called adjoint A. If you multiply A into adjoint A, you will find something nice. D minus B minus C A. This into this is AD minus BC. This into this is 0. This into this is 0. This into this is AD minus BC. This is AD minus BC into identity matrix. Okay. So A into adjoint A, we got det A. AD minus BC is det A into I. When you divide with det A here, A into some matrix gave you identity matrix. So this is called inverse. For example, basically inverse means what is that? If I take addition, 5 plus what will give you 5. That is called identity element in addition operation. What is that? 0. Okay. 5 plus something which will give me 0. That is called additive inverse of 5, which is minus 5. In fact, that is the definition of minus 5. Okay. 5 into what will give me 5? That is called identity element in multiplication. That is 1. And 5 into something which will give me 1, that is called multiplicative inverse, which is 1 by 5. So 1 by 5 definition is multiplicative inverse of 5. Very simple. Same thing about here. A into something which gives me A is called identity matrix. And that is actually 1, 0, 0, 1 and all, right? A into something which will give me identity matrix, that is called multiplicative inverse or inverse of matrix A. Okay. That is exactly. A into adjoint A by det is giving identity matrix. So this is a formula for A inverse. Adjoint A by det A. Okay. Instead of dividing det A here, if I divide here, let us see what happens. A into adjoint A equal to det A into I. This det A will divide here. Remove this and write det A here. Adjoint A into something gave identity matrix. So what is this? Adjoint A whole inverse. We got a formula right there. Adjoint A whole inverse is A by det A. And also A inverse is adjoint A by det A. We only done for 2 by 2. We'll also see for 3 by 3. Okay. Today I may not be able to discuss today's numbers, then tomorrow I will discuss some selection, depending on the theory, how much I have to teach. Okay. If I take a 3 by 3 matrix, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, H, I, the cofactor of A is, forget about that row, that column, this one, which is E, F, H, I, the determinant of that. If you want cofactor of B, I have to write -1 whole power 1 plus 2. Forget about that row, that column. I'll get D, F, G, I. All right. Okay. So I can write all the cofactors like that. Replace every element with the cofactor. Remove A and write its cofactor. Remove B and write cofactor. Remove C and write cofactors. What you get is called cofactor matrix. And transpose it. Okay. What that is called adjoint. I'll call cofactor of small a as capital A, here capital B, capital C, capital D, capital E, capital F, capital G, capital H, and capital I. When you transpose it, I'll get capital A here, B here, C here, D, E, F, and G, H, I. You take the original matrix, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. When you multiply these two, definitely here that A will come, here that A will come, here that A will come, no doubt about it. Why? When you multiply this row into this column, what is that? A into its cofactor plus B into its cofactor plus C into its cofactor, which is the very definition of the determinant. Similarly, this also det A, this also det A. These elements will come 0. There is a logic to it. Don't have to expand it. You take a row, multiply with cofactors of another row, you will get 0. Okay. I can give a nice explanation to it, but right now time is, I don't want to spend on it. I'll come at the end if time is there. Okay. Now again, this is det A into I. Same thing is true for 4 by 4, 5 by 5, 10 by 10 matrix. In general, it is true that A into adjoint A is equal to det A into I for any square matrix of any order. It is not just for 2 by 2 or 3 by 3. In general, we deal with 2 by 2 and 3 by 3, but it's true for everything. Now, when you divide this det A down, okay, you will be getting formula for A inverse as adjoint A by det A. Now, we'll discuss some properties of inverse. Then we'll discuss properties of adjoint matrix. They're also very important. There are some questions, mains also, and for advanced also they are there. For inverse, properties are all very, very easy to prove. But for example, this AB whole inverse formula is B inverse into A inverse. Okay. One may say it is very easy to remember because AB whole transpose is B transpose into A transpose. Even in first year functions, F circle G whole inverse is G inverse circle F inverse. Just because it resembles some previous thing doesn't mean you proved it, no? Okay, that is a functions chapter. That is transpose is inverse, doesn't mean you proved it. Okay. Then how to prove this is very simple. Whenever you want to prove x inverse equal to y, you simply prove x into y equal to I, you proved it. Okay. Without this inverse, if product of these two is identity matrix, this inverse of this inverse of this, right? So if the proving this is very, very easy. Multiply this and this, if you get identity matrix, you proved it. AB into B inverse A inverse. What is B into B inverse? Identity matrix. That's the very definition of identity. The inverse. What is A into I? A. What is A into A inverse? Identity matrix. So without inverse, product of these two identity matrix means they are inverse of each other. What is ABC whole inverse? C inverse, B inverse, A inverse. If I take B also as A here, you will get A square whole inverse as A inverse whole square. If you take this also as A, this also as A, you will get A cube whole inverse as A inverse whole cube. Is it all right? Okay. So these are some properties about inverse. We'll discuss a little more. What is Ka whole inverse? K is not a matrix. K is a real number. Like for example, if they ask 5A whole inverse, it is 1 by 5 A inverse. Okay, 1 by K A inverse. How to prove? Take this and this multiply, you'll get identity matrix. A will get cancelled. A into inverse is I, proved. Right? Of course, this is also very simple. A transpose whole inverse is same as A inverse whole transpose. And A inverse whole inverse is A. Okay, you find inverse matrix and find inverse of that, you'll get original matrix simply because multiply these two are getting identity matrix. That's all. Okay. Adjoint A whole inverse is same as adjoint of A inverse, which is also A by det. Because just now we proved that A into adjoint A equal to det A into I. This one you write it here, divide it. Okay, and this can be proved where this into this can be proved identity matrix and things like that. The adjoint A whole inverse or adjoint of A inverse is same as A by det. Apart from that, one more, det of A inverse is 1 by det. When you take inverse matrix determinant, the reciprocal of original matrix determinant. How to prove that? You know A into A inverse is identity matrix. Apply det on both sides. You get det A into det of A inverse. What is determinant of identity matrix? 1. Okay. So this is a number. Bring it down. Det of A inverse is 1 by det. Okay. Now, whatever properties you have for inverse, you also have similar properties for adjoint. Adjoint AB is adjoint B first and adjoint A later. But proving for adjoint is little difficult, but convert into inverse it is very easy. So we have a formula for A inverse as adjoint A by det. Bring this det A here. Adjoint A is equal to det A into A inverse. Okay. Whenever you want to prove anything about adjoint, convert into inverse and then solve by inverse and convert into adjoint back. For example, adjoint of AB I want. You write it as det of AB, AB whole inverse. Det of AB is det A into det B. AB whole inverse is B inverse into A inverse. What is det B into B inverse? Adjoint B based on this. What is det A into A inverse? Adjoint A, same order. Proved adjoint B into adjoint. So any property of adjoint usually we go to inverse and prove it. Okay. Similarly, if you put A square, you get adjoint A whole square. If you adjoint of ABC, you get adjoint C into adjoint B into adjoint A. Okay. Next, this is important. Adjoint of adjoint A, we'll talk about it. Adjoint of Ka, let me talk about it. You take a matrix, multiply with K and find adjoint of that, and A is an n by n matrix. It is K power n minus 1 into adjoint A. Okay. One may say why K power n minus 1 came. It is very, very easy to understand. Why? You take a matrix, 4 by 4 matrix, A, B, C, D, something, 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 something. Okay, 4 by 4. 4 rows, 4 columns. Okay. A will have some cofactor. If I multiply everything with K all over and find cofactor of this, will it be same as the previous cofactor or anything different? I am taking a 4 by 4 matrix. Finding cofactor of this means forget about this row, this column, determinant of this. If I multiply every element with K and then find cofactor, what will happen? It will be K cube, not K power 4, because we neglected this and this, K will come common 3 times. If this is an n by n matrix, and when you take cofactor of this, after multiplying with K, K will come common how many times? That's it. K power n minus 1 times previous cofactors. That's what it is. Somebody may say, no, no, just now we said I want to do by everything about adjoint is by inverse. You want to do it, do it. They say det of Ka into Ka whole inverse. But det of Ka, K will come common n times. It is K power n into det A. That is one formula yesterday discussed. Ka whole inverse is 1 by k into A inverse. 1k when you cancel, you'll get k power n minus 1. That A into A inverse is adjoint A1. That A into A inverse is adjoint. So like that also we can prove. Okay, now I want to derive a formula for adjoint of adjoint A. We know A into adjoint A is equal to det A into I. Wherever A is there, I'll write adjoint A. This is adjoint A. This is adjoint of adjoint A. This is det of adjoint A into I. Okay. Now I'll multiply with A on both sides. Multiply with one more A here, one more A here. This is a number. This I can multiply this as this. Of course, in matrix, the order is important. When I take B equal to C, I cannot write AB equal to CA. If you multiply with A left here, here also you have to multiply with A on the left only because they don't follow commutative law. So I think better I'll write AI. Okay, but it doesn't matter here. What is A into adjoint A? Det A into I. This is adjoint of adjoint A. Det of adjoint A, I did not derive that first. So let me derive that. Okay. A into adjoint A is equal to I. Apply det on both sides. Det A into det of adjoint A is equal to, sorry, this is det A into I. When you find det, you will get det A power n. What is the determinant of det A into I? If you apply det and you take k common, it will become k power n that way. Or if you look at this, det A into I, you will get det A, all diagonal elements are det A, det A, det A, det A. When you multiply, you will get det A power n. When you cancel this and this, you will get det of adjoint A equal to det A power n minus 1. This is a very important formula. Det of adjoint A equal to det A power n minus 1. For a 3 by 3 matrix, det of adjoint A is det A whole square. And for a 2 by 2 matrix, det of adjoint A is same as det A. Okay. Coming to now, det of adjoint A is det A power n minus 1 into AI. AI is A only. This det A will cancel, one of them, and I into anything is that only. So I'll get adjoint of adjoint A is equal to det A power n minus 2 into A. So this is a formula for adjoint of adjoint A. This is a formula for det of adjoint A. The det of this also we might have given a formula, but I don't need to give. Why? Det of adjoint A. Based on this formula, det of adjoint A is det A power n minus 1. So the det of this plus, okay, so det of adjoint A power n minus 1. But this itself is det A power n minus 1 whole power n minus 1. So it will be det A power n minus 1 whole square. So you may find this formula also. Det of this is this. These are all there in our mains material in the beginning of the theory. Okay. But you have to remember it. Not if you just read it, you may not be clear. So that's why I'm explaining. Okay, these are all the properties related to inverse and adjoint. We have few questions based on that. Okay. Now another important part of this is the system of equations. If you look at past year mains questions, like in IP you have the matrix inversion method, Cramer's rule, Gauss-Jordan method, an important question. You will find at least 30-40 questions coming about unique solution, infinite solution, no solution, and what are those infinite solutions? Okay, I can even tell you from question number, just to see how many questions are giving. Okay, from 100, starting with 100. In fact, starting with 99, practically till last, up to 143, 99 to 143. Yeah, questions are up to 147, but last are miscellaneous little bit. Okay, so 99 to 143. So 45 questions based on this one concept of unique solution, infinite solutions, and no solution. Okay. One of the reasons they give is in engineering, first year will be studying these things once again, plus little more higher level. Whatever you are going to use in BTech first year and second year, the related things which are there here, there is a better chance that they'll give in the exam because they expect you to know this before entering, right? Okay. What is this now? A1x plus B1y plus C1z equal to D1. A2x plus B2y plus C2z equal to D2. A3x plus B3y plus C3z equal to D3. Okay. If I have three equations and three unknowns, when I solve, sometimes I'll get only one solution for x value, y value, z value. Sometimes I'll get lot of values, sometimes it's not possible. Okay. I think many of you very well know, as long as algebra is discussed only in terms of algebra by solving equations in a dry manner, the understanding of algebra did not improve after a stage. Okay. But giving coordinates and similarly pure geometry. Okay. In lower classes, we studied about circles and triangles and different properties. That also did not improve to some extent, and some proofs are very lengthy. But when you give coordinates to those numbers and express equation of line and plane and all in terms of algebraic equations, the combining algebra and geometry together is called coordinate geometry, which you are studying. That made things easier to understand. Coming back to this is a plane in 3D geometry. Is another plane in 3D geometry. Is another plane in 3D geometry. If we take three planes in space, how many solutions, how many points will be there common to all three? If two planes are like this, and third plane is also containing that common line, like three sheets of a book. We take three papers of a book, all are planes, but they have one common line. Every point on that common line will satisfy first plane, second plane, third plane. There will be infinite solutions. If two planes are like this, and the third plane is cutting like this, these two planes have a common line, these two planes have a common line, these two, all common lines are meeting at one point. Two planes are like this and third plane is cutting like this. There is one point common to all. If two planes are like this and third plane is parallel to that common line, you have one plane like this, one plane like this, one plane like this, like a kaleidoscope. If you look at a kaleidoscope, it is three things only made, right? Okay. These two planes have one common line, these two planes have one common line, these two planes have one common line. But all these three common lines are parallel, they don't meet. There is no single point satisfying all the three. So that is a case of no solution. Not only these three, there are some more cases. What if two planes are parallel and third plane is intersecting them? Then yes, the third plane with first plane have some common points with second plane, but there is no common point to all three. Again, it is no solution. Right? What if three parallel planes are given? No solution. Okay. And don't think this will represent a plane. This equation can represent whole space also sometimes. How? We take 0 into x plus 0 into y plus 0 into z equal to 0. What does this represent? Whole space. Every point in the space will satisfy. By the way, this is a fastest IIT question, you know. There is a matching. 4 questions. One question is this: 0 into x plus 0 into y plus 0 into z equal to 0. What does it represent? It will represent a line, plane, whole space, something like that. Then column 2 you have to match. Okay. This represents whole space. Okay. Sometimes this look like three planes, but there may be only two planes. Why? I may write x plus 2y plus 3z equal to 9. That one is the fastest IT question, not many years back, just recently only, 4 5 years back. Not like some 20 years back, 30 years back they asked the whole generation. And you multiply with 5, it is 5x plus 1y plus 15z equal to 45. Okay. You multiply with 5. Okay. It looks like a new equation, new numbers, but they are same plane or not. Sometimes you may not have three planes, you may have only two planes, you may have only one plane, every point in that plane. So when you get infinite solutions, don't think it is only the case of two planes are there, third plane is passing that the common line is infinite solution. In fact, the infinite solutions can represent a plane itself. When I give same plane in different ways, it is looks like three, but only one equation, the whole plane. And if I put all our zeros, it represents the whole space. That is also infinite solution, right? So within infinite solution, there can be categories. Within okay, of course, unique solution there is only one case that can happen. No solution there can be category. So not the two planes are like this, third plane is parallel to the common line. You can have three parallel planes, or you can have two parallel and third one is intersecting. So there are many cases are there. So I just give an idea. I did not tell you how to solve it. Okay. I am going to discuss if they give system of equations, how to decide whether they have unique or infinite or no solution. The best method I'll tell you first and then I'll explain in detail is that you simply write all the coefficients like a 3 by 4 matrix. A1, B1, C1, D1, A2, B2 and all that. So this is your first year. We have consistent and inconsistent. It is actually related to that. You only convert this into 0, this into 0, this into 0 by your elementary row operation. No column operation, only row operation. You can multiply this with 2 and subtract here. You can multiply with 5 and add here something. But only convert these three into 0. You will be left with one more number, one more number, one more number, one more number, one more number. You are not planning to convert these two into zeros. But sometimes while converting into these two into zeros, automatically this will become 0, this will become 0. Because of the numbers. Okay. In that case, it's a case of infinite solutions. Why? You take z equal to some k, you will get y in terms of k. That y and z in terms of k substitute, you will get x also in terms of k. So that is a case of infinite solution. You can even find those infinite solutions in terms of k. Sometimes you'll get 3 zeros here, but here some non-zero number. But that is a meaningless statement. If I have 2, 3, 5, 7 here, what is the first equation? 2x plus 3y plus 5z equal to 7. If I have a 9 here, 2 here, 3 here, what is the second equation? 9y plus 2z equal to 3. What is the third equation? 0 equal to 9, which is something stupid, right? Absurd. All right. Okay, so that is the case of no solution. When it is no solution, you will always get something of absurd thing like this. What if you don't get 0 here? You said you convert only these three into zeros. You talked about both zeros now. You talked about this is 0, this is non-zero. What if this both are non-zeros? 7 here, 5 here. That will give you z. 7 z equal to 5. What is z? 5 by 7. That z you put it here, you'll get y value. That y and z put it here, you'll get x. So when you get here non-zero number, it is unique solution. One may say, what if there are 4 cases you have to talk about here? 0, 0, 0, non-zero, non-zero, non-zero. What about here non-zero, here 0? Actually, these both are same ones. Why? Here 7z equal to 5, that is 5 by 7. Here 7z equal to 0, that is 0, that's all. But it's a solution. But this is a case of no solution and here doesn't give any result. You'll get infinite solution. Okay. This is the best method. But one important point, very rarely, even if you get all zeros here, it's still no solution. When is that? If you get one more 0 here, one more 0 here, but 3 here. This is absurd, no? No. Okay. So don't think when delta, delta 1, delta 2, delta 3, all 4 are 0, it is infinite solutions. You can also get no solution because here you can see when this row is 0, delta is 0, delta 1 is 0, delta 2 and all that. I'll talk about what is delta 1 and all that. But so while you are looking at this, it will be aware of this also. Are you getting 3 zeros here? Just keep a watch on it. All right. So that you will be a little careful. But otherwise, looking at the last row is usually tells you about which kind of solution. This is the best method for any question, frankly. If you want especially infinite solutions and no solution. So in that way, your first year IP preparation is good for your objective preparation also. Well, Gauss-Jordan method, consistent, inconsistent, you have done same thing. Okay. I am not saying that you study only for IP, you'll get mains rank. But IP important questions only if you study, obviously it is not sufficient for mains. If you have done IP full book thoroughly, it covers a good percentage of mains preparation. Good percentage. Okay. I don't say completely, but a good percentage of it. Okay. Especially maths and determinants, if your IP is done, everything is done here. Determinants are covered thoroughly. Okay. And this system of equations, 45 questions are there out of 1/3 of the chapter is that only here. They are covered thoroughly. You may know what is not covered is adjoint of adjoint A, how adjoint A is that A into inverse. Those are not covered in IP that extensively, which we are learning here. Right. So where are we now? Yeah. So coming to different methods, we have first method I want to discuss is matrix inversion method. When you have these 3 equations, they can be written in a matrix form. What is that? A1, B1, C1, A2, B2, C2, A3, B3, C3, X, Y, Z, and D1, D2, and D3. Okay. This into this equated to this, that is your first plane. This into this equated to second plane. This into this. So we should be able to convert the 3 equations into this form. This I'll call it as A, this I'll call it as X, this I'll call it as B. I'll multiply the A inverse on both sides. This is become identity matrix. Identity matrix and anything will be that. I'll get X equal to A inverse into B. Okay. This is matrix inversion method where you really find inverse of this, multiply with this, you will get a column matrix. This will be X, this will be Y, this will be Z. Okay. So where is that? Yeah, we'll get three answers here, which is x, y, z. We'll get a unique solution neatly. But when can you use this method? A inverse should exist now. When will A inverse will exist? Only when this delta is not zero. If this delta is zero, it is called singular matrix. It doesn't have inverse. If this delta is non-zero, it is called non-singular matrix, which has inverse. So only when delta, that is non-zero, then only you will have unique solution, and you can find it by matrix inversion method. Right? We can also use Cramer's rule. What is Cramer's rule? The determinant of this is delta. Replace first column with this. What you get is called delta 1. Replace second column with this. That is called delta 2. Replace third column with this. That is called delta 3. Okay. So you find delta 1, delta 2, delta 3. Then there is a formula. X is delta 1 by delta. Y is delta 2 by delta. Z is delta 3 by delta. Again, you can only use this method when this delta is not equal to 0. Right? Again, when this delta is not equal to 0, you will have unique solution, which can be found by Cramer's rule also. How Cramer's rule came? Actually, when you are taking A inverse into B here, this into this is actually delta 1 only. This into this is delta 2, this into this is delta 3, and outside in A inverse we have 1 by delta. Okay. So actually Cramer's rule came from matrix inversion method only. Of course, in IP textbook they'll explain some other way of column operations also to tell that. But right now we don't have to worry. All right. Okay, next we have Gauss-Jordan method. What is this Gauss-Jordan method? We have all these elements here. We'll convert this into 0, this into 0, this into 0, this into 0, this into 0. We'll convert these into ones. We'll get some numbers. They are your XYZ values, right? Okay. So if you convert this into identity matrix by row operations only, not column operations, what you get is the answer, right? And Gauss-Jordan method doesn't say that that should be 0 anywhere, na? Okay. But of course, if that is 0, you'll get some problem because you'll not be able to convert all these 6 into 0. And especially coming to the mains level preparation, it is not important to convert these three also into zeros. These three zeros are sufficient. These ones also not required. If you have 7, 3, 2, 5, and here 1, 4, 3, and here some 9, 4. This will give me Z value. Put in this, you'll get Y value. Put in this, you'll get X, Y, Z. Okay, so this is good enough for us. Okay. Now, you can tell like this. What is that? If delta not equal to 0, unique solution. How will you find that unique solution? You don't have to use any one of these. How will you solve in school level? You take 2 equations, eliminate Z. Take another 2 equations, eliminate Z. Then eliminate 5 Y from the 2 results. You'll get X. Put that X, Y, Z. You'll get answers. Or you can do by this method also. Convert these into zeros. Use matrix inversion method, Gauss-Jordan method, Cramer's rule, or simply solving normally. Or I should call this as 50% Gauss-Jordan method. I want to call it. Converting these into zeros. So use full Gauss-Jordan or half Gauss-Jordan. Cramer's rule, matrix method doesn't matter. You can find unique solution. But only condition is delta should not be 0. If delta equal to 0, forget about Cramer's rule. You cannot use it. Forget about matrix inversion method. You cannot use it. Okay, you can use Gauss-Jordan method or half of Gauss-Jordan method. Right? Within this, there are 2 cases. Not only delta is 0, delta 1, delta 2, delta 3, all are 0. That is the case of infinite solutions. If at least one of them non-zero, only delta 1 not equal to 0, other 2 are 0, or delta 1 and delta 2 both not equal to 0, and at least one of them non-zero, I should say that. Okay. I think I should better say delta 1, delta 2, delta 3. I should say not a good to write, but delta 1 square plus delta 2 square plus delta 3 square is not equal to 0. Because when it will be equal to 0, all are 0. Not equal to 0 means at least one of them should be non-zero. Anyway, you don't have to use it in the question, but I'm just saying it. Among delta 1, delta 2, delta 3, at least one of them is non-zero. It is no solution. Why? Not a good idea, but I'm just explaining. If it is 0 by 0, at least in limits we can think there is a limit. But if it is a non-zero number by 0, it will be obviously not defined, right? Kind of. Okay. Now, one important point. Sometimes delta, delta 1, delta 2, delta 3, all are 0, but it is no solution. Just now you said infinite solution, and again you are telling no solution. This and this are okay when no 2 planes are parallel. Sometimes if planes are parallel, you may get all zeros, it is still no solution. I can show you an example. You take 1, 2, 3, 4. Take 1, 2, 3, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 5 again. Okay. They are effectively two parallel planes. That is case of no solution only, right? But from third row, if I remove second row, I'll get all zeros. From this, if I remove this, I'll get 0, 0, 0, and this. Forget about this, we'll see later, and 1 will come here. But this we'll see later, 1, 2, 3, 5. Just because you got all 4 zeros, delta is 0, delta 1 is 0, delta 2 is 0, delta 3 is 0. Because if you close this delta, if you close this delta 1, if you close this delta 2, if you close this delta 3. Okay. So when no two planes are parallel, nothing wrong in saying this. That when all delta are 0, it is infinite. And if one of them is non-zero among these three, but this is 0, it is no solution, fine. But when planes are parallel, it may belong to this, still it may be the case of no solution. Okay. All those things will be taken care in this method of converting these three into zeros. If these are also come 0, just watch out for these numbers carefully. You'll be able to make out which kind of case it is. Okay. I'm going to tell something based on the rank, which is correct, but we may not use it if you are using this method. Once again, as I told, some people may have some confusion. Only theory is not good. Only problems is not good. I have to discuss theory, and when I do some problems, we'll get a first-hand experience of how I'm using this theory. Okay. 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 So what I'm saying here is rank I want to tell. There is a 3 by 4 matrix that is called augmented matrix. This part I'll call A. This whole thing I'll call it as AD. Okay. When both ranks are 3, it is a case of unique solution. Okay. When both ranks are equal but not 3, both are 2 or both are 1, both are 0, not possible, but it's okay. That is a case of infinite solution. When the rank of this 3 by 3 and the total 3 by 4 are different, maybe this rank is 2 and this rank is 3. Maybe this rank is 1, this rank is 3, this rank is 1, this rank is 2. This kind of cases, it is a case of no solution. This is not only true for this, it is true for higher level also. Let's say I have 100 equations and 100 unknowns. I'll get a 100 by 101 matrix. The 100 by 100 matrix will have one rank, and the total 100 by 101 will have another rank. When both ranks are 100, is the case of unique solution. Both ranks are equal but not 100, 99, 98, 97 and all is infinite solution. Both ranks are different, it is no solution. Okay. At higher level they use it, you don't have to worry about it, but there is some theory about it. Even I myself not fully clear about it because I did not study of that part, but I don't need, this is sufficient. Now, coming to your delta, delta 1 and all, please understand determinant of this is delta and the total 3 by 4 matrix has 4 determinants which are delta, delta 1, delta 2, delta 3. If delta itself is not equal to 0, first of all I should talk about rank. People might have forgotten what is rank. What is rank of a matrix? Let's say I have a huge matrix of 10 by 7. Okay. Rank of a matrix, I'm not telling exactly in words, I'll explain in detail than making a statement. If I want to tell rank of this is 4, what should happen is any submatrix in this which is higher order than this 5 by 5, 6 by 6, 7 by 7, all those that should be 0. You cannot have a 8 by 8 submatrix here because we only have 7 columns. So you find square matrices out of this submatrices which are square matrices like 7 by 7, 6 by 6, 5 by 5, 4 by 4, 3 by 3, 2 by 2 and all that. Try to find determinants of all of them. Okay. More than 4, 5 by 5, 6 by 6, 7 by 7, all those debts should be 0. Among 4 by 4, there will be a lot of debts. One of the debt at least should be non-zero. Then we say rank is 4. Okay. If you want to say rank of this is all 7 by 7 determinant should be 0. One 6 by 6 debt at least should be non-zero. When I want to say rank K, there should be a k by k matrix whose det is non-zero. Any higher order than this, that should be 0. Okay, coming to 3 by 3 matrix. If you take only 3 by 3, if this det is non-zero, what is the rank? Directly 3. If 3 by 3 det is 0, you have to go for many 2 by 2s. If at least one 2 by 2 det is non-zero, rank is 2. If all 2 by 2 dets are also 0 in this, automatically 3 by 3 also will be 0. 1 by 1 matrices, we look at it. If at least one of them is non-zero, rank 1. If all elements are 0, even 1 by 1 dets are also 0, then rank will be 0. When you take a 3 by 4 matrix, rank cannot be 4 because there is no square matrix of order 4 by 4 in it. So there will be 3 by 3 matrices, 4 such matrices are there. Any one of them that is non-zero, rank 3. If all 4 are det 0, all 3 by 3 dets are 0, but there is at least one 2 by 2 whose det is non-zero, rank will be 2. All 2 by 2 also dets are 0, all 2 by 2s. Then rank may be 1, provided there is at least one 1 by 1 matrix whose det is non-zero. If all elements are 0, 3 by 3 dets are 0, 2 by 2 dets are 0, 1 by 1 dets are also 0, so rank will be 0. Okay, now we can relate to this. If delta not equal to 0, this rank is 3, total rank is also 3. That is the case of unique solution. When all 4 are 0, I said infinite solutions earlier. That is basically both ranks are 2 because this one 3 by 3 that is 0, but there is a 2 by 2 that is non-zero maybe. Here all 4 3 by 3 dets are 0, rank cannot be. This is the case of where delta is 0, but among them one of them is non-zero. Because 3 by 3 that is 0, rank will not be 3 for this, it will be 2. But for the total, there is some other 3 by 3 whose that is non-zero, because of that rank is 3. So we can connect from that, based on this I told how to decide unique, infinite and no, you can connect it to rank. But this will cover other things. When the planes are parallel, I said when all 4 are 0 also sometimes no solution, na? That will be taken care here. But without all this, best is simply take that, convert these 3 into zeros, everything will be easy. You can even find infinite solutions, not just tell that they have infinite solutions, you can find what are they. So the questions we'll see later. Sorry, today I could not cover. Okay. Tomorrow also maths and determinants, but Saturday is trigonometric up to this transformation or something. Trigonometry, we are not going to teach any theory. In fact, we wanted to remove trigonometry because you can study on your own, we are using it, but still we kept it because at least some questions can be done. Okay, so trigonometry will just discuss questions, no theory at all. Okay, we may discuss theory for inverse trigonometry and all next week. But this week anyway, Saturday's MSK sir will come. You will decide on what to do. Tomorrow, I'll definitely discuss some questions based on this concept that I discussed. Okay, thank you.